And that is one song that motivates me every time I listen to it. When I listen to that song, it just looks like, wow, I can conquer the world, Survivor doing that one. And I think it was the theme song to Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. Well, I told you earlier on we would be having a guest in the studio with us, and she is the Minister for Arts and Culture and Creativity here in Nigeria. Her name is Hannatu Musawa. She's a lawyer. She's a member of the Chartered Arbitrators as well. And quite interesting, she's a writer. I'm always fascinated by writers, though. I love to meet writers. Good morning. Good to have you, Hannatu. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
It's now, your ministry is one of the babies of this administration. That is the Ministry of Art, Culture and the Creative Economy. And it's quite an interesting one because over the years, we have overlooked the creative industry. So tell us, what are your plans starting out as a newbie in this administration?
Thank you very much. Yes, this is one of the new ministries. You know, in the past, like you said, we've sort of overlooked that creative space. And, you know, this is one area that Nigerians really, really have thrived. And at the moment, you know, globally, Nigerians have placed themselves at a position where the whole world is looking to Nigeria for their talent and creativity. So what we've done in this ministry is developed a roadmap and a number of initiatives that will give the creatives a sort of fantastic enabling environment for them to be able to thrive. Because you look at this industry, you look at within this industry, you find that in Nigeria we do not have a proper enabling environment. There's no infrastructure. Some of our laws, copyright laws, are not tight enough in order to protect artists and people that operate within this industry. So within this particular ministry, what we've done is come up with a number of initiatives that will give Nigerian creatives an enabling environment for them to really, really thrive.
Okay, that's quite an interesting one. So you have legal frameworks, you have policies, yes. Because a lot of times they're not protected legally. Anybody just picks up a creative work and copies it, and nothing is being done about that. That is good to know. So we're now going to focus on a baby that you have, which is Destination 2030, because you have a target. You want to make sure that we can't overlook the creative sector when it comes to economic development. In other parts of the world, we see what Hollywood is doing, we see what Nollywood is doing. But here, it encompasses a lot. We're talking about media and entertainment, we're talking movies, we're talking music. So what is the plan, actually, to drive inclusivity and also to add to the revenue? And talking when it comes to revenue, we're talking economic development. What is the plan?
You know, this particular ministry, we do have a number of targets. One of our main targets, obviously, as we've sort of unveiled in our roadmap, is to add contribution $100 billion to expand the GDP by 2030, to also give job creation specifically to a younger demographic of people, and also capacity building. We've also developed, like you said, our baby Destination 2030, which is an initiative that we hope will reposition Nigeria globally. You know, for the last many couple of years, Nigerians have been sort of perceived in a somewhat negative way from a global perspective. But we want to tap into the potentials that we have within this industry to see if we can completely change the narrative about Nigeria and completely reposition it. And I think when we're able to collaborate with people within this particular space, we have the potential to do that.
Yes, you talked about potential. We've got a rich heritage. We've got a rich culture. And I find it quite interesting when I went on your Wikipedia and it was written in Hausa, because that was what I saw. I was like, okay, you know, our languages over the time is part of a culture and heritage. Over the time, we've ignored, we've sort of thought of it to be some sort of inferior part of us. So being in that ministry, what is your plan to actually revive our culture, our identity, our heritage? And you would need the National Orientation Agency. Is there some sort of partnership to keep this going so that we can achieve this in the global space?
Absolutely. We are working in tandem with the National Orientation Agency, which is under the Ministry of Information, to introduce ourselves, to rediscover who we are as a people. Like you said, culture and heritage is vitally important. And I think that's what really makes us unique. I think really that's what makes Nigeria the most unique nation in the world. 250 beautiful and diverse tribes. You know, this is a ministry, again, that speaks the language of every single tribe. You go to every single village. Like I always use the example of my village. I come from a very rustic village in the very far part of the north that really most people do not speak English. But when you go there, everybody is dancing to Davido, everybody is dancing to Tiwa Savage. They understand, you know, this is a language that really transcends any division or any dichotomy that we may have. So I think this ministry, again, one of the things that we plan to do is to really rediscover who we are, to bring unity back. And like I said, we're working in tandem with the NOA, National Orientation Agency, to reintroduce some of these, and also the Ministry of Education, to reintroduce some of these subjects even within our curriculum, back in school, back to really teach more about the heritage and to introduce creativity into the curricula, so that as Nigerians and new generation of Nigerians grow up, you know, the issue of creativity and the issue of culture is really very key to, you know, their development as people. So, yeah.
Now, Nigeria is vastly populated. We're blessed with human resources, and we have the youths as major part of our population. And they're very creative. They're so energetic. What is your plan for them? Because you see a lot of contents being created and you say to yourself, wow, this is what is being done. As we head towards Destination 2030, what is the plan to involve them to achieve this goal of $100 billion, or is it billion?
$100 billion.
$100 billion.
To increase the GDP by 2030, yes.
So what is the goal?
There's a lot of plans. One of the things we plan to do is take our message to the very grassroots, and we can do that by setting up incubators and hubs in all the different states, and maybe hopefully in the different senatorial districts, that will allow young people to come and express themselves in a creative way. And one of the ways I mentioned earlier is also to introduce creativity and the issue of heritage into our curricula at the very, very early stage of education. And what we hope to do in the ministry is we're going to have a advisory council that will sit with us in the ministry, that will be populated by members of this particular industry, so that we can hear the voices. One thing that I understand is this particular industry is, you know, we have to listen to the people in the industry, because they know where the lacunas are, they know where the weaknesses are, they know what needs to be done. So by creating advisory council in the ministry, there will be a representation across the full spectrum of creative industry and heritage and art. What we hope to do is to get their voices to the Federal Executive Council, because whatever we decide in the ministry, together with members of representation of the industry, will be taken direct to the Federal Executive Council. And by doing that, people in the industry are able to actively be part of forming policy. So definitely the members of the industry are going to play an active role in how we shape the ministry. Right. And, you know, we will take our message. One of the things, again, that we hope to do as a ministry is to do consistent stakeholder engagements, not just in Lagos or Abuja. We hope to go to every single state so that we can understand the creative people, the creativity that exists, because it's all very different, isn't it? It's all very diverse. So this is a way of sort of bringing in inclusivity. Areas that we may not understand their heritage or their culture, we go to the states and we invite creatives to come to a stakeholder engagement. That way we are able to absorb them into the ministry, and, you know, they'll really play a part in shaping the policy that's going to shape the industry invariably.
So we talked about the stakeholders, the filmmakers, you have the music artists and music producers. But this is quite common with filmmakers. The challenges they face, they tell you sometimes they go to locations, you have louds getting in the way. And when you talk about creatives, filmmaking is part of creativity. So how do you want to address these challenges? Because if it goes on, it's going to get into the way of what you want to achieve. It might serve as a discouragement to some of these filmmakers. Is that going to be a focus, working in partnership with states, just to ensure that there's to create that proper working and conducive working environment for
Absolutely.
them?
I mean, we are listening. I think one of the main challenges for people in the industry is really lack of infrastructure. When you talk about the filmmakers, where they're going to make their movies, the musicians, where they're going to hold their concerts, there's nothing. It's a crying shame that a city like Abuja, this is a capital city, does not have a national museum where we are able to sort of exhibit our heritage. And so one of the main initiatives that we hope to do is to create an Abuja creative city that is going to be all encompassing of the whole industry. This is where you can go to do your movies, where you can go to record your music. It's going to be it's going to be of international
standard.
Standard, absolutely. And then we're looking at forming a sort of commission that will be a one-stop shop for creatives to come, whereby that particular commission is able to help them with their CAC, with their, all the modalities that is needed for them to sort of bring out the products that they need to. So we're working on that at the moment. It is something that, we're looking at the legal framework to put in that together. So I'm doing all that I can to see how we can sort of set up a very strong legal and regulatory framework that is going to be able to sort of carry everybody along and protect and secure, the creativity and the talent of Nigerians so that they can really flourish in a way that, they are not... They are not cheated or, they are not protected.
Right.
Yeah.
So you talked about our heritage. We have some wonderful destinations, tourist destinations. And when we talk about culture, it's sort of tied into tourism. I know your ministry is Ministry of Arts Culture. So where does tourism come in? What is your plan to partner with the tourism sector? Because we have places like Jos. We have like the Obudu Cattle Ranch. We have beautiful places that we can showcase. Even the creatives can showcase what they have. And as they do that, we're showing ourselves to the global stage. So what is that plan you have with the tourism sector to showcase creativity, showcase the beautiful sights and scenes that we have?
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes ministries are very sort of linked, and we are aware that our ministry is really invariably linked with that of tourism. So we are working closely with the Minister, Mrs. Lola Adejon, to see how we can sort of support each other. Because, the tourism, she has a very robust and intricate plan as to how she's going to revive the tourism industry. And of course, that will go hand in hand with also trying to secure the nation, right? And at the same time, we have come up with ways that we can sort of interface and work together, like you said, the Obudu cattle ranch. And you spoke about the heritage, right? We're working closely with UNESCO also to see how we can expand our heritage sites. We've already identified a number of heritage sites, and we're going to do a tour very soon with the members of UNESCO, and they are coming, so that we've already identified one or two heritage sites, and we're going to go with UNESCO to see how we can start the process of domesticating it as a heritage site in UNESCO. And that will also help the tourism, because I don't know if you know that we even have underwater heritage sites.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till I came into this job.
Yes, we do.
So these are all areas that we on our side are working on. And then I know Lola Adejon, very soon she's going to enter the implementation stage as we are, because what our ministry did since my appointment was we did a lot of research, a lot of meetings with the relevant people, a lot of data, putting data together, a lot of engagements with people within the industry. Now we have entered an implementation stage. And I tell you, in the next couple of months, you're going to see the Ministry of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy roll out initiative after initiative, one after the other, because really there is no time to even be able to cover the vast spectrum of this fantastic industry and space.
So how are you taking advantage of the digital platform? That has become, it's come to stay. So how would you
Absolutely. We're really taking advantage of it. And again, we're working very closely with Dr. Bosun Tijani of Digital Economy and Communication to be able to do that. And we know that our work can only be better once we have fortified digital economy and communication. So, like the hubs that I told you about, we're going to incubators in all the different states and hopefully in all the senatorial districts of the nation. That can only really work with internet and digital, right. Fortified digital economy. So we are working again very, very closely. There's one or two ministries that really have to work together because our work interfaces and overlaps. So digital economy with Dr. Bosun Tijani is one of those ministries, and we're working in tandem to see how we can give Nigeria the sort of deliverables that we promised them during the campaign.
All right. And my last question is, how do you decide, what are your plans, let me put it that way, to engage the private sector, public-private sector partnership? What are your plans to make your dreams come true?
We are engaging, we are being pests to the private sector, because we are literally knocking down at doors at the private sector, because that is the only way we can really have the full financial support that is needed. I know this country, it's not really, the country needs help economically, right? So in my industry, even though we need the support, financial support from government, we understand we don't want to put too much burden on government, because we have the capacity to be able to attract investment from private organizations, from international governments. And in the last couple of weeks, I've been traveling literally every other week to different countries that have the interest of sort of collaborating with us and also giving us financial investment. So I'm doing everything that I can to do that from our side, and then by the time we do, we hope to do a sort of endowment fund that will be able to support people in the industry, and the access that we have as an administration, the platform that we have, will be able to also leverage on that to give people in the industry the sort of support. Like you spoke about the film that this brilliant Nigerian, Funke Akindele has done. I think we must support. We must support films such as that, so that we can sort of give it an even wider sort of sort of a wider
reach.
Yeah, reach. And one of the things that we tried to do when we came on board, there was a specific Nigerian movie that actually made the shortcut for the Oscars. And I think it won Best Cinematography at the Sundance Festival. Unfortunately, we came in late, and we were hoping it would make the shortlist for, the Oscars. It did, pass one stage, and we wanted to come in and sort of propel it, because there's a lot of politics that goes on in the industry as well, in a way that individual organizations are not able to have that reach. Us, as an administration, are able to have that reach. So we are ready to support Nigerian productions such as that to reach the highest peak. So we're really willing to work. We really want to work with people in the industry to see how we can push Nigeria over that edge.
Continent, push the envelope further.
Honestly,
than it is now.
They talk about women sort of smashing the glass ceiling. I see Nigeria honestly, as smashing that glass ceiling very, very soon specifically within this space. And, one of the things that we look at in our industry, this is a ministry that gives Nigerians hope, that makes Nigerians happy. So no matter what Nigerians are going through, I think it's our responsibility to work with people within the industry to give hope back to Nigerians. We're going to contribute to the country by increasing the GDP by at least $100 billion by 2030. We're going to create jobs, a lot of jobs, especially for a younger demographic people, capacity building. We're going to give infrastructure to the nation. We're going to be able to tighten our regulatory framework. So I think we've got our job cut out for us, and we're ready for it. And, the president is very keen to see all the deliverables that we're able to give as a ministry.
So there's a lot of goodies in store for the creative sector. They should watch out for your ministry.
I think so.
And they should watch out.
Absolutely.
So are we going to have a Hollywood Hill somewhere, like a Nollywood Hill?
Yes, in Abuja, certainly. And if we can find the space in Lagos, that would be fantastic. But we've already identified location in Abuja that we're going to start that project very, very soon. And then very soon you'll begin to see the hubs and the incubators. And, one thing, again, I have to thank people within the creative space, because they've already done the work for us. So it's just for us to really, really leverage on that to sort of realize our full potential.
Nice, good to know. And it's been wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you.
And I've been speaking with the Minister for Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're still listening to Classic FM 97.3, the station that plays every